The subscriber thing, yeah, it's like $2.99. And no, the money goes to the animal shelter.
Hmm.
Hopefully next week, Valor and I will be able to go out and get toys and treats for the dogs at the animal shelter. That's where all it goes to. But what it also does is it motivates me to get stuff done a lot quicker. If you've noticed, the YouTube videos have gotten up within 24 hours. The last three videos, so
Thank you
it
so
just
much.
you guys, it gives me an incentive because I feel more responsible, that I need to do stuff. So that's why I push it. Also, TikTok pushes it and everything like that. So again, in case somebody's new here, my the general rules that are in place for every single live. Number one, no politics, please. There are 10,000 YouTube pages for politics out there. So I can help direct you, regardless of the political party you're looking for, to find um, to find a place to go for politics. I feel that we are beat down at times enough that we don't need to get beat down in politics when we're together and everything's safe. Number two, drama llamas.
No
Um,
drama.
no drama llamas. We can have trauma llamas. That's
Yeah.
me. And Amanda describes herself as one of those as well. So that's fine because all of us in this room I know have gone through trauma. So, but no drama. Again, let's focus on us and trying to do stuff that makes us more successful instead of on the ugly stuff. So, and that's, I guess the other one would be, everybody deserves love and respect. Let's just treat everybody that way. And Dixie will have the most boring night as a mod ever, and in the history of TikTok. And she usually has a pretty boring job with that. She's busy tapping the screen. We don't need her to have to worry about comments. So okay. Invisible No More number 8. The
Yes.
review. The
Wow.
review. Let's see if I can get them right off the top of my head without looking at my notes. Um, Tammy was the first. Tammy came on and she had gone to her doctor and her had said that she was having some new pain in her chest, and the doctor said, "Well, we're going to deal with the hip pain first." And she ended up, not shortly after that, going to the emergency room and having an open heart surgery because of the pain that was in her chest. And to add insult to injury, when they sent her home with pain meds of Tylenol, extra strength Tylenol, after cutting through all the ribs and performing open heart surgery. In the hospital, they took care of the pain, and when they sent her home, they told her to take Tylenol. Tammy's in Ohio, and Ohio, I think, is actually worse than the state of Texas. And so it's just I talk to another lady that's on here quite often, Judy. Judy's also in Ohio, and Judy fights it in Ohio as well. You're right, JD. The Tylenol for open heart is torture. It's because the doctor that sent her home like that, if it was his spouse or his daughter or his aunt or his girlfriend or his neighbor's cousin's nephew's daughter, they'd have gotten all sorts of pain meds.
Hmm.
But since it was a regular person, an invisible patient, they got Tylenol. You
Yeah.
know, so she was number one. Then we had she's in the hospital. Candy Sapphire was on the second one, and Candy had gone into hospital for surgery, and they ended up taking an extra organ out without giving her the possibility that could happen. So now she's having to take all sorts of medicine. Her body can't regulate sugars. It can't regulate all sorts of stuff. In fact, she is currently in the hospital right now. They took her by ambulance yesterday. When they got her to the hospital, her blood sugar was 1,100. It was over 1,100 yesterday in DAK diabetic stuff. So she's still there tonight. She's hoping to go home tomorrow. So if you can search for Candy Sapphire and send her a message, giving her some hope and some prayers and let her know you're thinking about it. That would be great. She also mentioned, and I'm just going to throw it out there, there is no requirements to do this. Evidently, she's needing things, so she put like an Amazon like help list on her page. So there's no requirements, but if you're in a position, I'm sure she would greatly appreciate that. Um, I know I'm going to get the rest of these out of order. Dixie was on. I think one of the things that I remember most about Dixie, she's had over 100 surgeries.
Yeah.
And she had one like the day or two after she was on the live with us. Isn't that right, Dixie? I think. Um, and her pain's not regulated well either, which is just a nightmare. We had VJ Gray, and VJ is one of my creator heroes on this app. And if you're not following VJ, just type it, search VJ Gray, Gray. She breaks down all of her major in college was literal comparison or something like that. So she can read these studies and put it in what I call blue collar truck driver language, which I love because that's what I am. And like the words that are like 92 syllable long, she defines them. First and foremost, she can pronounce them, which is amazing to me. And then she defines them. So I'm not having to search Google and try to figure out what this stuff is. So, that was an incredible. I think one of the things that struck me most about VJ. I mean, she was in college. She was doing great. Her music career was just taking off. She was doing stuff like with American Idol. She was working with, was the drummer or the bass guitarist for Night Ranger, right? Anybody remember Night Ranger back in the day? Don't say, anyway, I won't sing. So that's huge, but yet her illness has struck her down. And every time she was getting started, it came back. And then the second thing I remember about her, and we're talking about medical gaslighting. She was sharing the story that night of being in a doctor's office, and the doctor, she's mentioned that at a young age, she had basically to kill the pain. Kat says she saw Night Ranger, the open for Sammy Hagar. I saw him with, believe it or not, Judas Priest. And they were booed off. It was Saga, Night Ranger, and Judas Priest. Whoever put that show together was high on crack. And Saga and Night Ranger both got booed off the stage so people could get Judas Priest. It was crazy. But I just dated myself there. VJ was telling the doctor that she had to have a hysterectomy at like the age 20 because of everything that was wrong. And the doctor said, no, you didn't. You're not being, in her words, she goes, he said she wasn't being historically accurate with her history. And she's like, I've got my file here in front of me. Would you like to read the report from the CT scan, which shows I have nothing. Those parts are gone. No, because there's no need to. You're exaggerating. So that was, that was a big one. We had Mama Chihuahua Mafia, Jolene was just on. I don't know what. There's no single one thing for me with Jolene's story. Is the fact of her illnesses. One of them is so rare. She's like one of 1,000, right? And or the fact that one of her previous pain doctors had when he went to fill her pain pump, possibly missed and filled her full of Demerol, wasn't it? And she drove home. And pardon me?
Oh, I thought it was morphine or something like, or Dilaudid or one of those.
Yeah, Dilaudid. Yeah, it was Dilaudid. And basically passed out in the bathroom. And if you go to Jolene's TikTok page, her pinned video shows the Ring camera from when, whatchamacallit? When her daughter called 911 of the ambulance people getting there, and confusion over what she may have taken and stuff, and how much what's the anti-opioid naproxen? I can't think of it right now.
Oh, naloxone.
Yeah, that they dumped in her to try to revive her and to get it all out of her system.
Hmm.
And they couldn't reach the doctor. They could only get him by text or email.
Yeah.
And he was wanting her to come back so they could replace the pump because he said the pump was defective.
He
It
missed.
was just, yeah, he blatantly, my opinion, right? He missed.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so I think the big story, there's a lot of things that we can take away from all of what we've witnessed. Narcan, thank you, Shelley.
Yeah.
Um,
Miss Blue Whiplash. We can't forget her.
yeah, Miss Blue
Kendra.
Whiplash, Kendra. In fact, I was just
Yeah.
talking with her today, and
Right.
a veteran, been in war, gone to war, right? Served the country in the Air Force, intelligence in the intelligence department, and Lyme disease, and how the state of Texas doesn't even recognize it as an illness,
Yeah.
and so getting treatment here in Texas is next to impossible.
Mhm.
Um, I just these stories, and y'all, you need to know, I'm not cherry picking the stories.
No.
These are when people send a message saying, "Hey, I want to do this." It's just okay. Well, I've got the next 2 weeks booked out, so let's shoot for 3 weeks, and we'll check in. We'll follow up in like a week and a half. Are you still ready? And yeah, I'm going to do it. And they're you, they're me, they're Amanda, they're all of us, just regular, normal people who have been put through a fucking meat grinder in the medical system. And it breaks my heart that it has happened to so many people.
Yeah.
So many people.
And we're going to
I-
get some men on here too, coming up
Yes.
soon.
Yes, we are. I was going to get to that. But
Right.
before I do that, no, you're fine. I wanted to talk about how none of these diagnoses. Oh, one more thing about Jolene, Mama, the Chihuahua.
Mhm.
That was when she was on, one of the most important things ever on a live I've ever done happened. Do you want to talk about, Amanda?
I'm
You
trying
may
to
not.
remind me.
We need the Jeopardy theme going on. Dun, dun. She mentioned that at an early age, she was forced to have a hysterectomy,
Right.
right? And it was the most chilling thing I've been a part of. And if Chronic Pain Warrior, I want to have you on here, brother.
Yeah.
When she mentioned it, and that it was at a young age, and how the doctors couldn't believe with her. Later on, doctors couldn't believe it had happened to her. And I mentioned VJ's story, and y'all, this is what I'm going to start crying again just thinking about this. The ladies, we had about 50 people in the live like we do now. And as soon as she mentioned it, one after one, I'm looking at the screen, the comments come up from the bottom, and it was a name, 24. Then right after that, a name, 30. Right after that, a name, 18. Right after that, a name, 21. And it was 7, 8, 9 ladies that were in the room at that time sharing a moment.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievably powerful.
Yeah.
If
It hit me hard because I'm one of those women. I was 32 and I had gone through it from the time that I was, probably when I started, when I was 9. It was just so rough. And to feel that sense of community and to not feel alone in that was so powerful. It's so sad to me that so many women are going through this, and I don't know why, but that's what I always do. I question everything, and I want to know why so many of us are going through this.
I want to know why too. And, they'll do this is going to make it sound like I'm kissing ass, and I'm not, because you guys know me. I don't kiss ass. They'll do anything in the world. There's an illness that a guy has, that a male has,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll find a cure, or they'll find an answer, or a way to treat it. This hysterectomies and ladies has become just accepted.
Right.
It's just, well, okay, that's just a thing, it's just time.
And
Well,
it's not, though, because it's such a long healing process after that too, with the premenopause and everything that you go through after that surgery too. Is just it's really hard on women,
and it's just accepted, and instead of investigated. And I mean, I get there could be a thousand different reasons why the procedure happens, right? I just don't understand why it's not investigated more,
Yeah.
But that moment when all those ladies had an opportunity to become just one, like connected, I mean, like I said, I'm going to start tearing up over it again. If you haven't had the opportunity, or if you missed that live, go to the YouTube page. It's on there. It'll be probably the one either right below Dr. Mike's, or the one, it'll be like 2 or 3 from the top. And because it was in order, so that one, holy shit, that was powerful.
Yeah.
That was just.
And who was it that had to have surgery after surgery after surgery? Is that VJ? And she's done now. She's like, I'm not doing it anymore. But she was going to a doctor out of state to have
and paying cash
pieces of her organs removed, basically, to get the endometrial tissue off. It's amazing how little knowledge there is about endometriosis and how many women deal with it. And how hard it is to diagnose it, because you really can't find it on a scan. They have to surgically go in to find this, it's.
Yeah. Deborah. Yeah. VJ, as in VJ Gray. She's got reddish orange hair. She does a lot of really good in-depth videos.
Yeah.
I hope she doesn't get mad at me. I don't think she will. I think it was 26 surgeries she's had.
Yeah.
And she just finally said, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. And I can't blame her.
No, I feel her, because I'm right there with her, and mine is different. Mine's spinal, but I'm done. And it hurts. It hurts like a mother today, but I'm not going to let anybody else touch me after what I went through. Just not going to happen.
Yeah. So I think those were some of my just real quick recaps of what has been shared just on a Thursday night. And I've shared this with Amanda, when we first got started with this, what is beautiful about Thursday nights is, number one, all the lives I hope are people, everybody feels safe, everybody feels loved and seen and heard and cared, because I want that. But I want people to walk away knowing they're not alone.
Right.
And when that happened with Jolene that night, when those ladies started typing it all up, it proved that, I mean, that was the goal of Invisible No More, right? Is to let everybody know they're not alone. And it was, I can't say magical. It wasn't. It was life changing to know that for once in a group like on the internet, on a crazy app from China, right? We were able to actually create that community right there and let people know they weren't alone. And it's awesome. It is. You guys are the best. You got the corgi butt. I saw that.
My fave. Corgi butts drive me nuts.
Yeah. So yeah. What do you have anything that sticks out to you, Amanda, about? Oh, you got the chicken on the head too. Look at you go. That was awesome.
I missed it. I looked away and I missed it. Dang
Be
it.
nice. Be nice. You got the naughty chicken. I'll send that to you if you're nice to me.
Yeah, no promises.
Yeah, I know.
I
So,
like to
anything
give
in your
Pete a
mind?
hard time, keeping on his toes.
Is there anything that sticks out to you that I threw out there, or that you can remember from these from the Thursdays? Um, anything in
I
particular?
just, the endometriosis thing was really what stuck out to me. I think we had 3 women on here that had been through, pretty horrific stuff with endometriosis, and that really resonated with me. Also, VJ's story with her dealing with being put onto Suboxone and having mental health issues after that really resonated with me, because I never really put 2 and 2 together when I had all of my stuff happen. And it was right when I got put on that medication. So it really opened my eyes to, my eyes have been really open to side effects to medications. And, when we take different medications together and things like that, what kind of, cross canceling kind of effects they can have and whatnot. But yeah, VJ's story really hit me hard. I think that was one of the ones where I had to take a break and cry a little bit and come back, because it just, I'm empathic, so I feel your guys' feelings sometimes, and it's hard, because I feel for you guys so much and what you go through. And I love the community that we've built here and how supportive everybody's been. Kendra, Miss Blue Whiplash, and I have been friends for a few months now, and I finally got to go see her on Tuesday, so that was pretty amazing. She has been through some shit, man, and she served our country, and it's just really eye-opening to what is happening behind the scenes with our vets. That's her story, though. And everybody, and then Mama Chihuahua, whoa, that one hit me hard too, with her overdose story. I mean, it wasn't that she purposely overdosed, it was, what her doctor did, but
Right.
that one hit me super hard because of my story. So all of these stories I really resonated with, and I hope that you guys have too, because it shows us that we're not alone in what we've been going through. And as sad as that is, as heartbreaking as it is, it does help you feel just a little bit better that you're not the only one that's been going through this, So everyone's story
Yeah.
has been really touching. I'm really looking forward to some of the guests that we have coming up too.
So am
Not gonna name a lot or anything, but I'm excited for some of the guys that are coming on too. Because
So
poor
am I.
Pete here is just in a sea of women, and we've got a couple guys that come on here and hang with us. They deserve some recognition too.
We have. Before I get to the teas, though, I know you guys hear me say thank you a lot, and you can't mean it a lot as much as I do. But you guys are open with us, and I get messages every day, and of just painful stories. And I appreciate you. I want to say thank you for trusting me with your stories.
Yeah.
And to those that have come on, thank you for sharing your stories. But thank you for believing in me when I talk to you about sharing your stories on here, because initially Tammy, she was like, I don't know. And so was Candy. And so I think Dixie was too. No, Dixie was a little mad. No offense, Dixie. You were like, so if you wanted to get yours out. But
It
it's
takes a lot of vulnerability to feel brave enough to share these things and know that you may get some flack for it. I mean, you have to
well,
build a
you won't
tough
get.
skin to share your story on here because you don't know
I don't
how
know.
people will be.
I don't think we let anybody get flack in here.
No, no, not
In
in
here.
here. But oh,
Oh my
nice.
God, that is awesome.
That is
Woohoo!
awesome.
That's one of the best yet. Um, but I think you could message anybody that's been on and shared their story. They'll tell
Yeah.
you to come on and do it.
Yeah.
Because it'll take weight off your shoulders, and you will find somebody like Jolene did that you will connect with.
Mm-hmm.
And every single one we've done, regardless of the diagnosis,
Mm-hmm.
people have found something to relate to,
Yeah.
and that lets them know they're not alone.
Yeah.
They're not crazy for saying, I'm the only one that's walked through this. I'm the only one that has an idiot doctor. I'm the only one that a hospital wouldn't help, and or the only one that's had multiple surgeries and nothing's fixed. Like Dixie just said, it truly does help to tell your story.
Yeah.
And Tammy said right there, definitely share. The nervousness goes away once you start sharing.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want to share publicly on with us, send me a message. We have the next 2 weeks booked. Phoenix is coming on next week, and you could find her page, her profile if you search.
You got it, Elvis.
Oh, I got the Elvis. Woohoo! That's awesome. Thank you, whoever sent that. Janet, thank you for that. You can find Phoenix on her TikTok. Is you search Phoenix, the letter N as in Nancy, me, Phoenix and me. And then the week after that, we have our first dude coming on. And I'm up in the air with, I don't know. I'm up in the air about that. I didn't tell him I was going to drop his name tonight. But and like Jolene said, sharing it is very, very healing. And I know Dr. Mike, he did a video TikTok a few days ago, and I stitched it about sharing and my pain story. And lots of people have. And if you tag me in it so I see it, I will put it on my story. I mean, I'm just me, right? I'm not anything special, but I will definitely put it on my story because I want people to share their story that bad. And the gentleman that's coming on in 2 weeks, he started almost every day. He's doing some kind of video where he's hashtagging it, my pain story.
Yeah.
So it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. So we want to talk about some Tuesday stuff.
Every time, but it's like a ripple effect. You may share with only a couple of people, but then those couple people are going to share with a couple people, and it's just going to continue to grow. And my hopes of doing this, is not only so that we feel less alone, but my real hopes in this is that some of these doctors and nurses will see the kind of trauma that we're going through and hopefully gain some empathy for us and hopefully be able to truly see people for who they are and what they're going through. That is my hopes with doing all of this, is to... I know I'm not going to change everybody's mind, and I'm not going to, we're not going to change the world overnight by any means, but we can change some people's perspectives on how they feel about us,
Yep.
Put a face to the illness, put a face to the trauma, and really sharing our stories helps do that. Whether you come on here and do it or whether you're just doing it on TikTok, you'll meet so many people. I never in my wildest dreams thought that when I started doing this over a year ago that I would meet so many people and have so much support and love poured, into my heart. And I'm so thankful for doing it,
Mm-hmm. You reminded me, though, I want to stop you real quick.
Yeah.
When you said, we forgot Amanda, psychologist.
Yeah.
that was
Oh,
on.
yeah. That was a big one.
She was probably in, and then she dumped, and then I'm going to get my phone's on do not disturb, and she's going to be blowing me up when I turn my phone off do not disturb. Amanda's a psychologist, and she's incredible. Oh my God, she's incredible. But she deals with some hellacious issues, multiple issues, extremely complicated. And she was at one point working on this program or class for doctors to have to take as part of their requirement to graduate, that to get a better understanding of dealing with with pain patients with the invisible community. But then she had to take a short-term disability because her condition got so bad. And she wanted to come on and share her story. And she also wanted to come on, and I wanted her on, and Amanda wanted her on. So I was always under the impression that, my new friend, Potter Practitioner's here tonight too. Awesome. Thank you for coming by.
Hi.
But I wanted with Amanda, psychologist, with her story I'd always thought that people who work in healthcare would have Cadillac. They'd be taken care of. Doctors would see him as a nurse or a psychologist or a therapist or whatever, or another doctor, and they would not have any issues getting their pain meds.
Right.
And if you're here for Amanda's story, and again, her story is up on the YouTube page as well. That's the exact opposite what's happened to her. She's been gaslit. She's been told she's making stuff up. She's been told that her pain's not real. She's been told that her pain's due to trauma. She's been told that it's due to substance use disorder. She's been told all this crap. And, I've been texting with her, and I don't think I'm sharing out of turn, because she would tell you she's still fighting this battle to this day, till yesterday when I talked to her last. And it's insane to me how somebody that they know is in the medical field is getting just crapped on like the rest of us. Doesn't make me feel
we
it.
talked about neurodivergency and ADHD, and that one really resonated with me, especially when she said how when she gets very triggered when people don't believe her, and that really resonated with me, because I get very triggered when people don't believe me, because I'm a very real person, and I will tell you straight up what I've been through and how I feel. And when people don't believe me, it just, I don't know, it just sparks something in me where I feel like I have to prove myself,
Right.
and then I get off track, and so that's why learning how to advocate for ourselves is so important, and why, we had Dr. Mike on this Tuesday, because we all need to learn how to better advocate for ourselves and how to work the system in a sense, it's just, it's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate what we have to go through and what we have to learn as patients to be able to get the care that we deserve.
And when Amanda, psychologist, was on, and that's really where we started trying to talk about being on the spectrum or being neurodivergent or the combination or whatever. We started the conversation the following Tuesday about that and how that affects our care. And I'm really looking to have a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist or somebody who works in that type of field so we can delve into that even more, because I firmly believe, and the few that I've talked to off the record, they've backed me up, that if, say that your part of your neurodivergence says you have to be believed, just believed. And you walk into a buzzsaw doctor's office and they're not believing, they're telling you you're not right. That will throw a person off so much that there's no way in hell they're going to get proper care. No way they can get proper care. And I want to have a live, I've got to just find somebody to do it, where we can discuss ways to let our medical team know about where we are and how we process so that we can get better care. Right. So that's a goal of mine. That is a very big goal of mine. But we can talk about the elephant in the room, Dr. Mike, that was on. And on Tuesday, and that was our most attended live. That was our most had them. That live had the most comments that we've done. That live was just off the hook, and we kept him longer. Yeah, we did the bookathon, and we that night we raised enough money for 2 books to be bought, to be given to somebody who's on, because he has that waiting list, right? And then we had an amazing person step up the next morning, and they bought 4 books. So we ended up as the Invisible Community. I know we got 6 that night, and then I got a message from somebody who had sent him cash apped him like $30 to do more books. And he posted the video today, 23 books in 48 hours. He was able to send out free of charge to people who are on the waiting list who couldn't afford the book. And you want to talk about something special. You guys were crazy. It was, I still have messages. I'm still talking to people, and I want to backtrack to all the beginning. I made a video today saying that I'm tired because of all these messages and stuff. I'm not bitching. I'm just telling you when I look like hell, that's why. But that was awesome.
Yeah.
Plus, there was so much good information that came out that night.
Yeah.
You know,
it really was.
And he's committed to coming back.
Yeah.
It'll be on a Monday night when he comes back. But because y'all, he gave up his date night to be with us that night. So can you imagine the hell he caught from his wife? So Potter, thank you for stopping in and saying hi. We will keep shouting from the rooftops just like you will. And I'm going to push the YouTube page one more time. The YouTube page works great as a podcast. It really, really does. Just hit play on it and put your earbuds in or headphones on and walk around or drive or whatever. That's that's how I digest them when I'm watching them as I listen to them. So, but we, 23 books, right? Yeah. And when he comes back on the next time, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to, anything that I get that night is going to go straight to the book fund. And we're going to keep trying to do it. We're trying to push it out. So that was good.
The more you know, right? The more you know.
The more we know, you know. And hey, Jessica, thank you for stopping in. I just think Tuesday nights are like, if you guys haven't figured it out yet, Tuesday nights are kind of like tonight. They're more of just an open format, different topics that we bring up. And sometimes I have a guest like It's Just Me was on, you know, and she had experience with the homeless on the streets and dealing with people who had multiple like pain as well as SUD issues and how to help them. And I'm not opposed to having guests on Tuesday nights. I think that's a good thing. Yeah. And the other thing I want to say about all of this, and I think I've said it in a gazillion videos, is I know some of the conversations we have are difficult and the topics are painful. But thank you for sticking with it. Thank you for, this is my ego right here. Thank you for reinforcing what I already knew in my heart, that we could have difficult conversations and people would stay and listen. And because I really want all of us to learn a little bit and grow better. Yeah. You know, so that means a lot, you know. So future things for Tuesdays, I didn't get it. I wasn't able to get it set up for next Tuesday. We're going to have for lack of a better term, caretakers come on, like spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever, to describe what it's like in their life to have to deal with us. And then the following week, we're going to have single folks, moms, single dads, or just people who live by themselves, and have them share their story of what it's like to be alone physically in the house, in the apartment, and have to deal with all this stuff. And I've gotten a little bit of pushback. If I'm single, why do I want to hear about the caretakers? Well, because I think if we know more about each other, we can empathize more and we can understand where they're coming from. And it's the same thing I'm telling married couples. Why do I want to listen to somebody who has to face it by themselves? So we can learn more about their point of view and understand where they're coming from. And I really think if we do, we'll pick up on tips to be just a little bit better ourselves
Yes.
and be successful
compassionate.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, more compassionate overall. I want to go back to Dr. Mike. Christina said, "Is Dr. Mike's book worth ordering?" Yes, it is. And we didn't get a chance to get into the conversation because there's so much we could talk about with him. You can read the book front to back. The first 20 pages are worth the cost of the book themselves. And it's the first 20 pages is really affirming. It really is. But then the rest of it is kind of information about how doctors see us and how we see doctors and what to expect. It's almost like a blueprint in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't read it that way because I don't want to say I have learning disabilities because I've never been diagnosed. I think different and I process different. So when I read it once front to back, and then I went back and highlighted areas I thought I could easily apply to my life. Mm-hmm. And that's how I use the book, if that makes sense.
That sounds like a good book, for sure.
And so that's why I think it's important. And I think if you're going to be interviewing a new pain doctor or a new PCP or a new gastro or a new neurologist or just any doctor in general, it'll help you with insights on how to go in better prepared to, so maybe you'll be more successful. But keep in mind, we can do everything right every single time with certain medical professionals, and we ain't going to get crap. We're going to lose every time we see them.
Yeah.
But
I can't remember how he worded it, but he's like, if they could predict, you're not gonna convince him otherwise. A bad doctor is a bad doctor, and you're not going to convince him otherwise. It helps you weed out those bad doctors, though. It helps you kick them off and go find another one. Like if it's possible, and we talk about that. We understand that it's not always that easy. Both of us have gone through some pretty hellacious doctors. And so, it takes time and it takes effort and it takes work, and we understand that.
Yeah. And so when you go to a doctor, I'm going to say, I've said it a lot, and you don't get what you were hoping to get, and you did everything right, do our best. We need to do our best not to take that personal.
Right.
Because there are assholes out there. Right. And, we can't prevent them from being assholes, and we can't fix their assholeness. Right. We can only control ourselves. So, but
on the other hand, when you do find a good doctor, make sure that you thank them, make sure that they know that they're appreciated for what they're doing for you. I think that's also equally as important as weeding out the asshole doctors, is making sure that your good doctors know that they're appreciated, because it is a thankless job. And, they do see so much trauma. It has to be a difficult job, being nurses and doctors and, everything that they see and go through as well,
Yep. And excuse me, you have to figure also they could be in there in the best of mood at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then you're the 3 o'clock appointment, and they've been beat on by people who've come in and done nothing but saying, I need more meds, I need more meds, I need more meds. And so if you walk in for that 3 o'clock appointment, excuse me, and you're the 15th patient that said, I need more meds, excuse me, they're going to rip your head off.
Yeah.
And they're going to tell you no, and they're not going to do it politely. Cut my hat and my mustache.
Yeah.
Thank you. But we can do, and we've done lives about that, and we should probably do another one. We can do that like once a month, probably. Tiffany asked a question, any tips for changing doctors, and you really need to switch. Mine won't help me at all. That's a whole live in itself. Because everybody's different, every doctor's different, and every situation's different. I would just generally say, don't fire your current doctor until you find a new one.
Right.
Personal experience, if I'm getting any kind of meds that help my pain, whether they do it adequately or not, I might start building. This is just me. This is not medical advice. I cannot stress this enough. What I would do is I would try to start stockpiling. If the doc writes it 3 a day, I would live on 2 or 1. Because if I have to leave, I'm going to need something.
Right.
Those are the 2 big ones. And then message me and we can talk back and forth about different techniques that are actually in this. If you have the $20, you can go to drmikesays.com and buy it there. You can go to my showcase on my page. It's for sale there. He's finally got it back in the TikTok shop. I do make $1.26 per book that's sold. So if you don't want to give it to me, go to drmikesays.com and you can get it to him and I don't get a cut. I'm okay with that. I really am. I just want people to get the information that's in it.
Yeah.
So Campbell said donating the book at the beginning of the month. Thank you, Campbell, for donating that. That is awesome. I'm just going to try to catch up on because I know I hit pause and I had 62 messages that I missed in the comments. So
I want kind of a win. Can I share my win this week?
You can share.
Because today was, if anybody saw my video today, I'm sorry for the language, but I had a really rough day today and I'm trying to focus on my wins of the week so that I can get past today and wake up tomorrow refreshed. But I had my pain management appointment on Tuesday, and I know you guys know how nerve-wracking it is those few days before the appointment, how nervous you get and how in your head you get. There's things that I've done, steps that I've taken to try to ease some of that anxiety, but I am with a really good doctor right now for the first time in probably 10 years, realistically. And he listens to me and we had really good conversation and I felt compelled to tell him what Keith and I were doing. Because I was thanking him for the fact that I can now cook meals for my family. I can now bake again. I can help feed my chickens. I can do this, like it's huge to me that I can focus again. And that's because I'm on opioid pain medications again, like it is such a difference. And he was so proud of me. He told me that he was proud of me and he offered to let us have a space on the board at the office to put up a flyer for what we're doing. And I thought that was huge. Like,
you're gonna stop you. You're gonna do that, right?
I want to, if you want me to. I mean, yeah, I want to. So I'm going to have to, design something and go on Canva or whatever. But yeah, I plan on it.
It's like 50-50.
The more the merrier, right? I mean, the more people that feel less alone, the better the world is going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like I said, we're not changing the world, we're changing the world one life at a time. Or a handful of lives at a time.
One thing I wanted to go also touch base real quick on, was it Christina that asked the question about the doctor? Again, this is me. This is what I would do. I would go see doctors until I found somebody that was better than where I currently am. Because when I just left my doctor, I knew how bad he was, but I also knew his buttons and what I could do to get the most I could do. I would go interview these other doctors and I could tell pretty quick whether they were going to work or not. And there wasn't any reason for me to sign a pain contract with this new doctor because it wasn't going to be any better. It was going to be the same or worse. And I just kept going and I kept going and I kept going and interviewing and interviewing and interviewing. It's not visiting a doctor. You're interviewing these guys for the first time. Keep that in mind too. Now, when you're seeing these guys, if they say, hey, do you refill on your meds? If you don't feel comfortable with that doctor, don't take that prescription.
And do not sign a paid contract right away.
Right, right. And I know that is difficult, especially if we need our meds. That is so hard to say no, but you're locking yourself in. But worst case is if you do that to 3 or 4 doctors, then you are going to be labeled as a drug seeker in a bad way. Right. And that will end up hurting you, your ability to get help down the road. And message me. That's a really quick synopsis of it. But message me and I can get into more details of why you don't want to do that. So be careful. Yeah. Be careful with that.
Yeah, definitely be careful.
And
Melissa, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say also, Melissa, she said that you get nervous every time you go to your appointment. Your blood pressure shoots 180. Mine would do the same thing when I saw Dr. Israel Pena here in Granbury, Texas, who I fired because to me, he was the worst doctor that had ever treated me. That's my opinion. It went through the roof. And the anxiety that all of us have before going to a doctor's appointment is one of the most obscene things on the planet. We're going to try to get help, and yet they've beaten us down. They have trained us to be afraid. So of course we get there and our blood pressure's through the roof. There were days, sometimes I wouldn't eat right, or eat hardly any, eat much, let's just say that, for a couple of days before having to go see Pena because I knew what was waiting for me when I got there. I don't have an answer for that right this moment. Just know that you're not the only one dealing with it, and try to take a little bit of solace in that, because so many of us fight that and deal with that every single month. Some people are lucky they only have to go get refills in some states every 3 months. Here in Texas, it's every 29 days. You're back in front of that person. So, but I wanted to get that in there just real quick. Everybody, because I saw that comment.
The doctor said something interesting the other day. He actually was at like a convention, and he ran into one of the really big higher ups on the FDA. And he cornered him, he said, and he asked the guy, what do I have to do? Like, how can I help my patients? How often do I have to see them in order to not get in trouble? And the guy basically told him, we're not doctors. We're not telling you what to do. We set out guidelines, blah, 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 blah. And my doctor was not happy with his answer. But his answer was basically, whatever you do needs to hold up in a court of law. So that is what our doctors are up against right now. They have to be able to prove that whatever they do, they can hold, in a court of law. And he said, unfortunately, it's hard for us to treat patients individually when we have guidelines like these over our heads. It really put it into perspective for me what they're going through as well. It's not right what our government's doing, and I'm not going to get into politics or anything. It's just not right.
Yeah, and I love what Kat's comment. Government, we're not doctors. We just pretend to be.
Right.
And and for the doctors that do want to do the right thing. It's just like what as her doctor put it, they're being put under such crazy guidelines, not being told, but just recommended procedures that are being, charged in court. And it's got to be next to impossible, because one person, like the previous CDC guideline was 90 opioid
90 MME.
Morphine equivalent per day, right? And now supposedly that's been taken away, but doctors are afraid to write more than that. But for some patients, generally they need 130 to 140 a day, right? But a doctor may do that, but he's documenting out the wazoo, right? Just in case, And Jada said, no lawyers will even take our cases like for a malpractice case. And unfortunately, in a lot of states, they've limited what the awards can be. And so I think it was an attorney, I watched her video from California. I guess in certain cases in California for medical malpractice, if you win, the max is $100,000. But by the time they get through the years of the hospital and the doctors' insurance companies fighting it, that 100,000, the attorney won't even be paid by the time it's all set.
Yeah.
So they won't take the case, you know. So it's just a combination of things that, yeah. So it's just, you know,
I just saw
advocacy.
Rubina's comment on the spinal stimulator. I'm wishing you all the luck in the world for that to work. Not everybody knows my story, but I have two of them, and they failed. And they're stuck in me forever. So do your research. If you guys don't already know about, spinal cord stimulators, definitely do your research and get other people's, stories on it, because they're pushing them on everybody, and they are not meant for everybody.
Right. But I don't want to harp on those, and here's why.
Right? No.
And not tonight. And we can do a whole episode on one of those.
Right.
And here's why. Honestly, in my heart, in every fiber of my body, I want people to find whatever works for them.
Absolutely.
Whatever works. And if it's a nerve stimulator, if it's a pain medicine pump, if it's acupuncture, if it's PT, if it's just straight pain meds, hallelujah. Whatever works for you, I want everybody to be better than they are today. And so stimulators have a big plus minus. I mean, either yes or no. And let's save that one for when I'm more mentally here. And no, I'm not drunk or stoned tonight, y'all. I'm just kind of spacey tonight. So
me too. Yeah, yeah, it's been a long week for us. So it's been a long couple months, but it's so worth it. I mean, I love what we do. I do. And I love y'all. No, I do want people to find what works for them. I have been in impossible situations and had to really do a lot of research and a lot of trial and error with things, because my doctors would not just give me the goddamn pain medication, It's frustrating. Yeah. It's frustrating the lengths that we have to go through to get relief when it could easily be sufficed with a medication. That's
could be.
And then I'll drop it.
No. And we need to have the conversation. We do. It's just let's not try to do it tonight.
No.
Let's
serious. We're not doing it.
Well, I meant to ask this at the very beginning, and we've been here for an hour, and I never did. What topics do you guys want us to talk about? This is y'all's time too. And if we are missing something big that you think we need, that's on the radar that we are totally missing, God, tell me, please. I mean, I move slow quite often, and I get spacey with the migraines and the migraine meds. They make me really spacey. And so if there's something you guys want to talk about one night, let's do it,
Okay, Shannon brought up a good one. Shannon and I actually talked on the phone today about this, and it was a good conversation. We were talking about grief and acceptance, and I know we've done videos on that already, but I was telling her, we were both talking about how when we became disabled, we were at the height of our game in our lives. For me, I was working for a well-known insurance agency. I had taken all of my exams. I had managed to pass them by, one of them took me quite a few tries to pass, because I started having brain issues at that point. And I made it with that company for a couple years. And then I started getting so sick that I had to end up, it was between me leaving or him firing me. And I bowed out. I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I had known that there were other options, but at the end of the day, I've had to do a lot of soul searching and a lot of therapy to really find this level of acceptance in my life. And, you know, we talked about how hard it is to feel like you're a failure, you know, when you are giving up everything that you've ever worked for, and it's completely out of your control. And that's the biggest thing for me is I've learned that I do struggle with control issues because of this, because everything is out of my control to the most point, except for how I advocate for myself. And getting my voice back and doing this has helped me gain my voice and has helped me learn how to advocate for myself to get better care. And your dreams change so drastically. But the biggest thing that we talked about, or that I took out of it, was you don't have to give up all of your dreams. They just need to be altered a little bit. You know, we have to find new dreams and new goals and new aspirations. There has to be a reason why we're still here. And you guys are my reason, right? I mean, like, if I'm really putting it out there, you guys are the reason why I'm still here, because I didn't have this community before, and I felt so alone and so just desperate for somebody to hear me. So, you know, that's another part of sharing your story, that you'll find that confidence, and you'll learn how to talk to your doctors. And it really, it's so special once you get to this point. And that's why I've been showing videos of me doing well. It's not to rub it in anybody's face by any means. I was afraid to do it. I was afraid to show you guys that I was doing better, because I didn't want anybody to be mad at me. And in reality, I really just want to inspire people to know that there is hope. There is hope that we can get to a point where we're at this acceptance piece, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. We did a Tuesday night, and that was a big chunk of the conversation. We talked about the 5 stages of grief. And not too long ago, somebody posted some information that was done for invisible patients. It was chronic. It said chronic illness, chronic pain, and everything they listed is what I classify as an invisible patient. And there's actually, they broke it down to 7, and we've been kind of wanting to get back to that. And that's a good comment. That's a good one that we need to talk about again, because we all deal with it, you know. And y'all, I'm writing down everything you're throwing at me. I've got 7 things down so far. One of the things I wanted to say real quick, Chronic Pain Warrior, he had mentioned CRPS treatment and amputation as a treatment. I just ran across somebody who's dealing with CRPS that is really, really good. She breaks things down just like BJ breaks down medical reports and studies and stuff like that. And we are working to get her on alive already. So that process started today. So that one's already, I can tell you that one's already in process. And I was excited to meet her and run across her. And so that one I know is, oops, I'm sorry, y'all. I think I shrunk you. That one's in process as we speak. So, and I'm still kind of going through here. I'm just trying to see where we're at. I lost my spot. So, do you ever take meds and gotten addicted to them? We can bring that one up too. My short answer to that one is, it's a very, very small percentage of the chronic pain community that actually gets physically addicted to
Well,
to pay
mentally
meds
addicted.
or
Right.
mentally. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
And by
because you
addicted, I
become
mean,
physically dependent on medications, but there is a difference between physically dependent and mentally addicted.
right. I chose the wrong words.
No, it's
Um,
okay.
my definition that I base it on, and that other people in the medical field I talk to base it on, is your desire and your search for a substance harming your life or others' lives in a different way,
Right.
right? Um, like, are you going downtown to find pills on the streets, right?
Right.
Or that could be to some considered addiction or a substance use disorder, which is a better term to me than addiction. Versus going to your doctor and explaining to him, hey, I need this med so I can function. So there's a difference. My body is getting used to the meds in it so I can function, but I haven't had an issue of having to go somewhere to get, to have to illicitly get those meds. So I hope that makes sense.
Shannon brought up a good one too. Going through forced withdrawals is another topic I'd love to talk about one night. That's
Yeah.
going to be a whole live for me.
Would you also say that would be forced tapering?
Yeah,
Or
forced
direct
tapering can go under that for sure.
Okay.
Or when I would. No, I'm not going to say it. But yeah, how to ask for an increase. That's a good subject for sure. It's
another one.
It's a tough one. You really have to feel out the doctor and use proper wording. And I'll say one thing that my doctor did say, because I sat down with him on Tuesday and I asked him straight up. I said, when a pain patient comes in, what is the goal, right? What is the goal for us? Is it to get to no pain? Is it to get to less pain? And he said, no, it has nothing to do with getting rid of the pain, because I could put you in no pain, but you'd be drooling in the corner. It's not realistic for you to be in no pain at all for the rest of your life. Everybody feels pain. The goal is to get you to a point where you can live a better quality of life. And that really struck me, because for a very long time, I had the goal of getting rid of this pain. I had a doctor, my surgeon told me, you are going to, I have widespread CRPS. He said, you are going to live with pain for the rest of your life. All we can do is try to help you manage it. And so I think, especially for people that are newer to the chronic pain community, I think that's something that you have to learn, is that it may never go away completely. It may just get to a point where you need to get it down to a level where you can function again. I am still in pain all the time, even when I'm doing these lives, even when I'm doing my videos. Sometimes you guys can tell, I'm sure, and sometimes I'm way better at masking, but it's never going to go away completely.
No.
And
I think
bad news, but
yeah, and I think we talked about that a little bit with Dr. Mike the other night. That a good pain plan doesn't get you from the bed to the sofa, right? For your life, but a good pain plan doesn't necessarily mean that you're never going to hurt again. And it's finding that spot between the sofa and never hurting again that's comfortable for people to live at, right?
Yeah.
And so I missed one that I wanted to talk about. I think hang on, I lost the screen. TikTok is trying to show me things that I don't want to. All right, we screwed. Anyway, we're back. I think it was Advocates that mentioned one of the topic that she said, learning to trust others. Yes. And I don't know if you're talking specifically medical or just people in society in general. I'll be honest with you. I think I have a good doc right now.
Yeah, that
There
helps.
there are things that I don't feel comfortable sharing with him yet,
Same.
all because of the shithead Dr. Israel Pena, Granbury, Texas, who abused me for 8 months, who gave me just enough meds to keep me out of the ER, and he knew it. He
Yeah.
lied to me. He told me blatantly numerous times that the low dose of methadone I was on was a near fatal dose, and there's no way he could increase it because of that, and he knew that was incorrect. He gaslit me, telling me that I had fibromyalgia because that would be a reason for him to stop writing opioids to treat my pain.
Yeah.
And then I go from that to the opposite end of the spectrum, and I'm hesitant sometimes in sharing what's going on with this
Yeah.
B-Dot. So I'd love to talk about that one night too, because that's
a whole live in
think-
itself for sure.
yeah, that's something that we're
both kind
we-
of going through
both
that
going
right
through.
now. Yeah.
But advocates just said people come in your house to take care of you. That's also as well, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we can get. I never thought about it. I don't know someone, but maybe I can find someone from not hospice, but what's the other term?
Oh man, I was
Somebody
just going to
help.
bring that up too.
Palliative care.
Palliative care. Yeah, palliative care.
About how do they screen their employees that they send to their house? That's a very fair fucking question. So.
Okay. Elizabeth brought up a good one that I think we should talk about another night as well, is flags in your file. And the one thing that Keith and I are very anal about talking about is getting your files, get your medical records and go through them, especially, and this is from me, especially if you're going to file for disability, because my records completely fucked my case. Excuse my language, but
It's true.
and it screwed me for years through the medical system with some of the things that were in my records that I didn't know about, and some of the blatant lies that were in my medical records that affected how doctors treated me. I'm not going to go off on a tangent about that, but please get your medical records and review them.
And what's the caveat that we had to learn, unfortunately, the hard way when we tell people to get their records?
You're not going to
prepare yourself.
Yeah.
Prepare yourself for what could be in them.
Yes.
And I knew Dr. Pena was going to have bullshit. And what you also need to prepare yourself for when you get those records is what's not in them.
Yes.
Like Dr. Pena, Granbury, Texas, who I fired because he was the worst doctor I've ever had. If you can't tell, I don't mind saying his name. Because if you're in Granbury, Texas, I would not send anybody there. Not even my ex-wife, who I hate. He told me almost every time I was there, that I had opioid-induced hyperglycemia. Is that the word?
Yeah.
I'm finally getting it right. Which is a study done on rats that said that opioids can actually cause pain. And that's why he wanted me off opioids and why he cut my dosage just completely to nothing. But you know what? He never put that in my records that he was treating me for that.
Thank God.
Why wouldn't he do that? Because the next doctor I went to see would have called bullshit on him, and he knew it. So that's why he didn't do it.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Dr. Pena, if you're watching, or if you're a nurse, the poor receptions that you forced to watch my lives, that's just my opinion. But I'll fight that one in court. Which you can't get blood out of a tournament. I live in a fifth wheel. My cars are used and they're old.
Right.
I'm on disability. There's not a whole lot of money to get out of me. So, but Steve Guy brought up one. Also, the words decline versus refused on your meds, that would be a good one to bring up as well. Man, you guys are getting really creative tonight on these topics, and these are awesome.
Yeah, they are you
Um,
writing them down, or do I need to be writing
yeah,
this?
I've got 12 of them down already,
Okay, cool.
so
So we're set for like,
Ablesia. Thank you.
Algesia, I
Thank
think
you,
is how it's.
Elizabeth, for getting me to say that correctly. And I guarantee you that I'll still butcher it. I'll guarantee it. I know I will.
Yeah, Elizabeth has a list for us when we run out.
Hey,
There's so many
send
subjects
me a
that we can
message.
talk about. Yeah.
Send me a message, please. Y'all, I get spacey sometimes, and I have the best intentions, and then I screw things up. And so I don't do it on purpose. I do it because I have squirrel moments, and it gets, I forget shit really, really easy. So, um, so yeah, that's a lot of great stuff that we got to talk about. Awesome. That is so freaking awesome. You are the Algesia myth. Yeah,
I've been told
it's
that too. I haven't been told that I had, Algesia, but I've been told that opioids will make your affinity for pain higher, and I never believed that. And I was just like, why would they have given me something like that if they knew, but I question everything too. My doctor taught me the other day, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I'm a truth seeker.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Hang on, I want to send this message real quick.
okay.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that we could talk about. I'm looking forward to the live with our spouses. So, I know my husband's looking forward to it as well. He really, hasn't processed a lot of this stuff. And you know, I feel like therapy is so important, and I'm so proud of you for going, because although it may not take the pain away, going to therapy, it will help you process it. It will help
mhm.
you release that trauma from your body. And releasing the trauma can definitely help with your heightened, fight or flight mode and things like that. It is so imperative that we have someone to talk to, and it doesn't have to be a professional. If you can't afford therapy and you can't find a therapist, just find someone to talk to that understands what you're going through.
Yeah, well, that's number two, right? Number one is get your
Right.
records. Number two is find someone to vent to. And
Hmm.
if they're in the visible community, that's awesome. If they're not, just somebody that you feel comfortable talking to, right? And that will understand you and will listen to you.
Yeah.
Since we've covered 2 out of 3, I'm going to throw in number 3 as well.
The ease.
Yeah, research ACE. I forget what the A stands for, but childhood experiences
Experiences.
and adverse childhood experiences. Is that right? And for those that don't know, if you're new here, you haven't heard my speech. It's based off a study that a gentleman did on girls in their teens who were gaining weight, and how trauma in their life had shown up as them eating more and gaining weight. And now doctors are taking that study and are saying that any trauma that you had in childhood is the cause of your pain. If you're female, not males.
Being a female is one of the markers of that flags you for
Yeah,
having adverse childhood experiences. Just being a female.
yeah. And so that you'll see that, ladies, when you go in, and they'll give you a questionnaire, and it'll ask you, did you have childhood trauma? What was it? And blah 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 blah. And it's such a crock, because if you answer honestly and say, yes, I did, you may be setting, again, opinion, but opinion that's been verified with some facts. You could be setting yourself up to have a doctor tell you that your pain is not real, it's not physical, it's a psychological condition that your mind is created to deal with the trauma that you had as a child. And they will send you home with either psych meds or a psych referral instead of offering to treat your pain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I want, obviously, the ladies who watch to understand this is going on. And I want the gentlemen who are watching to know this is going on so they can research it and tell their spouse, their partner, their daughter, their mom, their aunt, their uncle, screaming from the rooftop to any lady that they know in their life who may be seeing a doctor for anything about this, so people can be educated. And there's a very good video that VJ did. If you want to know more about it, and plain, simple, easy to understand, as I say it, blue collar truck driver language that's easy to understand, send me a message and I'll tag you in VJ's video so you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. So,
Yeah.
and Shelly right there, it happened to me on Tuesday. I lied. And so, and I'm not blaming you, Shelly, because I would do the same thing and I would recommend that. But how do we have a honest and open conversation and relationship with a pain doctor if the first thing we have to do, or any doctor, the first thing we have to do is lie, right?
Right.
To protect ourselves.
Be traumatized.
Yeah.
Or go through that trauma again. You know, that's what happened to me. Like, they asked me about things that had happened. They sent me to therapy. I was re-traumatized all over again. And I became what they said I was, you know, because they put me on psych med after psych med after psych med.
Right.
And it never helped with my pain.
No, because it's not going to, you know. If you have your trauma, that's a whole nother conversation one night, is that I feel that most of us in the invisible community have some sort of trauma, whatever, from terrible physical trauma to mental PTSD with doctors and everywhere in between. So to say that our pain is because of trauma is wrong, in my opinion. And I think when they bring it up like that, they're just giving the victimizer the power over the victim once again in their life, you know? So I think it's terrible.
And Steve said, you know, that he's been screened for this as well. We're not saying that males aren't screened for adverse childhood experiences. We're saying that by just being a female, you get flagged, basically, that you have a higher chance of having issues with substance use disorder and things like that just from being a female. And then if you, on top of that, have any kind of adverse childhood experiences, trauma, things like that, then it's higher on the list. It's a score. They keep a score of you know, how much trauma you've had in your life, and then they use it against you, basically. It's, and
they do. And I don't know. We need to have just a whole nother live on that, I guess, even though I don't want to, because I hate it.
I know. I hate it too.
So,
and I don't, you know, I don't know what to tell people, because, to be honest, I was honest about my mental health issues and it bit me in the ass. So, and I don't know how you go about when you actually do have mental health issues, getting help, and not, you know, of course your doctors are going to see that. I'm not saying don't get the help. Absolutely. No. If you have, you know, if you are struggling with depression or struggling with anxiety, get the help that you need and that you deserve. Mental health care is so important and so stigmatized still. And it is imperative that we have more open conversations about mental health care in our country, because it is a problem. It is a root problem. And we don't talk a lot, you know, with our doctors about the root problems of why we are in the situations we're in. And that's something my doctor said. He said, there are so many specialists that we go to now, and nobody ever gets to the root cause of why we're in this position. It's just treating and masking symptoms with each specialist, you know?
And wasn't it Dr. Mike on Tuesday that said that the problem that he sees right now is that a lot of primary cares are treating the patient because there's so many specialist fields out there now. They're sending everybody out to specialists.
Right.
And so then they're losing track of what's going on with their patient because they're going to this person. They don't know what's going on unless they ask the patient at some point, and the information is not being shared, So, yeah, so I need to get VJ on and beg and plead her to come back on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because she really would be somebody I trust, or a psychologist, maybe Amanda when she's available to come on about that as well.
Wow.
Do me a favor, y'all.
True though, Sunflower, because my doctor is my pain management doctor is actually, he's in pain management, but he is also labeled as an addictionologist. And he is also functional medicine. And Keith, your doctor is functional medicine as well, right? I mean, he has a wide array of different tools. And I think that's important. An important subject that we bring up is making sure that you have different tools in your toolbox to treat your pain. We cannot just depend on medications to help us alleviate the pain. We have to find other modalities and things that work for us individually to try to ease also not just the physical pain, but the emotional pain and the stress and everything that comes with it. Because I don't know about y'all, but when I'm under more stress and I'm feeling more anxious, my pain is heightened. I mean, I don't know if you guys can agree with that. My body is more tense. I have more muscle spasms. So really, for me, some of the tools that I've used are like deep breathing techniques and learning to breathe through my nose more, consciously. And I used to do massage therapy and acupuncture and chiropractor work. I would try anything in this world to try to ease some of the pain that I'm in, so you gotta try some of these things to see if they work for you first before you straight up say, no, that's not going to work for me. It kills me when people say, when they get upset when people say, well, try yoga. And yes, it is offensive when somebody that's able-bodied tells us what to do to try to feel better, right? Well, I'm not able-bodied, and I'm going to tell you, stretching is one of the best things that I've found personally to relieve some of the tension that I have on my spine. So, meditation, learning, finding your spirituality has been huge for me. Whether it's God or Allah or Buddha or whatever you believe in, finding that spirituality in something higher than you that you believe in is really huge.
But we also want to make sure that that's individualized to a specific person.
Exactly.
If I tried to do some of the stretching exercises that Valerie does when her workouts in the morning, I would be on the floor they'd have to find a way to get a stretcher in this trailer of ours to get me out, because there's no way I'd get back up. Right.
Absolutely.
And that's why I like my PT guy, because he understands that and he's not abusing me like that a whole lot. But I think we do have to be open to different ideas and different suggestions. But I get the fact of somebody back, 5 or 6 years ago when CBD oil was like the rage. I can't tell you how many people have you tried, because they were selling it, right? And, have you tried CBD oil? And for some people, it was a godsend and it was a blessing, and I'm very happy for them. But when I would tell them I've tried it, well, you need to try my brand. My brand's different. And no, I've tried 5 brands. I'm fine. Thank you. I appreciate it. It does get old.
It does.
And, a lot of them, a lot of people just truly do mean well. And a lot of people don't know how to talk to somebody who's in pain or has an illness or has a mental health problem. They don't know what to do. So the first thing is they want to fix you and try to tell you what works, right? And that's why when I tell people to find somebody to vent, I don't look for suggestions on how to freaking fix me when I'm venting. I need to just vomit that shit up and have somebody to understand that I'm being open and honest about what's going on in my life, right? So,
I think one thing No, I think that's a good thing to bring up though, is how to talk to people. Finding the right people to talk to is something that I really learned in therapy. Venting to the right people and finding the people that understand what you're going through, because I was in a small world with my husband and my kids and a few family members that had no freaking clue what I was going through. They did not understand and they couldn't. How can you fathom? How can an able bodied person even fathom being in pain like this every day of your life? It's unfathomable, you know? But you find somebody like I found Keith, you know, and you find somebody who gets it. That is when it really clicks, you know, and that's why we do this, so that we can find each other, you know.
Yeah. And Advo, you're right. Some of those other things that doctors want to try, they are expensive because they're not covered under insurance. And
Oh, yeah.
so I get that 100%. I totally do. You
Absolutely.
know,
I joke that I gave up my smoking addiction or my smoking habit for supplements, you know, but I mean, I'm spending probably just as much on supplements that I was on smoking, but you know, for me, it has helped me feel better.
you know, I'd done really well on my smoking. I cut it
Yeah.
down a third. The last 3 or 4 days, I'm right back to where I was. It's just because the pain's been off the hook. You know,
Every day, one day at a time, one day at a time. You know, don't beat yourself up too much about it, because
yeah, you know.
it's tough. It's a tough thing to kick, for sure.
I love what Steve said. He says, I use TikTok and the CPP community here to vent. That's why we're here. That's why. And I'm going to go back to all these books that got ordered, right? That shows you that the community wants to take care of the others in the community, because we've walked it, a lot of it. I may not have had my spleen taken up by as a bonus in a surgery like Candy did, you know, but I know what it's like to be lied to by a doctor, you know. And when we're looking for somebody to vent that's never had a doctor gaslight them, it's difficult for them to understand that could take place. And that's why I love the fact that you come out to the community here and just throw it out there, you know, because that's why we're here. That's why we're here, you know. So, yeah. So, I do have, I don't know, depending if you want to look at this as good news or bad news.
Oh, I'm getting news online, live.
Well, I'm going to have to wrap it up because I need to go get pain meds on myself right now. Well, we did a review. We have enough shows to do an actual review for a month. That's pretty scary. Right? You know, that's really scary. And we had 50 people here tonight to talk tonight, and you guys gave us all sorts of great topics to start bringing up on Tuesdays. And well, yeah, that was the coolest thing I think that's awesome. She said, finally caught alive. You're one of my chronic pain warriors I follow. This is awesome. Thank you for the sweet words. Again, y'all,
we are. This has become a full-time gig for both of us. You know, responding to y'all's messages and your comments. And, you know, Keith and I talk every day pretty much. You know, it's been so healing for me personally, and I hope for Keith too.
And we have very understanding partners that allow us to do this. Because we love this community, and this community's done so much for both of us. And I've said it, I'm not shy about saying that this community saved me when I've been in some really bad spots. And
absolutely.
I want to be able to pay back whatever I can. So any parting words from you, Miss Amanda?
I just I mean, wow, tonight went by fast, right?
Yeah,
Don't
another
they
hour.
always, though?
They do.
I
They
mean,
do. You know.
I really
Um,
appreciate y'all and all of the ideas and the comments and the gifts and everything that you bring to our lives is so special. And you guys are so special to us. And I love that we have new people in here tonight. I hope that we're, able to reach more and more people by doing this because I love our community so much. And you guys have done so much for me in the last, few months when I was doing fundraisers and things like that. I was at a really dark place and you guys helped me out of that place. And so,
yeah.
like you said, like I want to do this to thank everybody for how supportive you guys have been of us.
Yep. And I have 12, I think is what I wrote down here, suggestions on my little notebook. Yeah, look, you can read it. I actually wrote them down. So we're going to get those worked into Tuesday nights and the Thursday nights. For Thursday nights, starting again next week, we'll be doing the traditional Invisible No More. Phoenix will be on here sharing her story. And since you guys hung around for so long, in 2 weeks, we'll have our first male guest. Jada, they typically Thursday starts guy, and that is Tacoma Spoonie.
Yes.
We'll be coming on to share
Tacoma Spoonie. Sorry, I butchered that. Tacoma Spoonie. He's very open and raw about his story. I love watching his content.
You may hear the F word a few times, but I share a ton of his stories all the time, and I talked to him, and it was a long text conversation back and forth, message conversation back and forth, and he's psyched, and he's starting to share his story more right now on his TikToks. So follow him if you could. It's Tacoma Spoonie. And he's probably going to be furious with me that I dropped his name already, but sometimes you ask for forgiveness instead of permission, right?
Right.
So
that's our way of life, right?
that is. So I will start the process of getting this package together to get it on YouTube for tomorrow. The Dr. Mike and all the other videos on the YouTube page, if you go to my profile page, click Linktree, the very first one up there is a little play button. That's for YouTube. Click on that. It'll take you straight to the page right there.
Yeah.
You can,
it's on both of our link trees. So whoever, want to go
also on my Linktree, wow, Judy says Tacoma and her were born in the same hospital. Oh my gosh. I don't want to know how you guys found that out, but anyway. Also on my Linktree is there's a fundraiser for a friend of ours, Cammie, who had some issues. And then there's a link to Dr. Mike Says. So if you're interested in the book or donating the book, I think we both have that one on both of our link trees. My email address is there as well. It's keithcpp@gmail.com. I think that's I know you hate email. So, all right, y'all, we're going to get out of here.
All right,
Thank you.
go get some
Thank you
meds.
for tonight. And I'm going to go med up. If you guys need anything from me, message me. Need anything from Amanda, message her. And I hope you guys have a little bit better night tonight and a good day tomorrow. So we'll see you guys. Peace.
Bye,
y'all be safe. Love you.
y'all.
Bye.